I know what it feels like to be a person that has this drive and desire to create and to share and to do what they want with their day, and be unable to actually grasp that and manifest that into reality to the point where you have freedom to do the things you want to do, where you have an income and where you have work that actually feels fulfilling. Because I was in a situation where I had all of the desire, all of the dreams, but nothing was working. The way to get out of that space is to unlearn some common lies, I suppose, or programs that we've been conditioned with. And when I decided to challenge these beliefs and challenge these approaches, I made significant progress on a personal level, but also in terms of my business and my income as a self-employed creative person who makes money on the internet by doing things that I enjoy. So I'm going to share with you these 4 pitfalls that you're probably falling into. By the end of it, I hope that you have the courage and the understanding required to take the next step for yourself to actually create and manifest a life that you're excited about waking up to each and every day. So the first thing logically that we need to look at is our inaction. What are the things that we are not doing? So many people don't know where to start, which is completely reasonable because there is no right place to start. So you're looking for a starting point that actually doesn't exist. The simple advice here, which I know you don't want to hear, is just start doing something. So I work in the realm of content creation. People that are watching this channel, if you're looking to build a life for yourself where you get to control the things you do for your income and control your schedule, content creation is the best way to do that because it's going to get eyes on you and your ideas and whatever services or products or whatever it is that you want to offer. That is where it starts. It starts with attention. And that's not an egotistical thing. It's simply a matter of acknowledging that you have something worth sharing with the world. And in order to share it, I'm sorry to say, you have to create something and put it out there, because otherwise no one is going to come and knock on your bedroom door when you're in there doing your magical, wonderful thing that you think is going to change the world, because no one can get to your bedroom door unless it's your family. But that's not enough to put food on the table for you. The common trap that people fall into is thinking that they need to have a niche, they need to have a clear roadmap, a clear direction. And that doesn't just happen overnight for most people, especially for people that are still watching this video. I know you've got a lot of different interests. I know that you're afraid of getting stuck going down one pathway and then maybe you decide that you don't like it. You're thinking too far ahead. You need to just make the first thing, make the first step, see how that does. There's this concept of making noise and then acting based on the signal. So if you're making noise, if you're making videos about certain things and you're not enjoying it or the audience isn't enjoying it, that might be an indication that you should make noise somewhere else. So try a different path and keep doing that until you find a place where you have a balance of enjoying it and other people enjoying it. Because if you're just enjoying it and no one else is enjoying it, you're going to end up a starving artist, which isn't really nice. The framework that I like to use for this is to just identify a version of yourself in the past, or even where you're at right now. What are you interested in? What's exciting you? What are you reading about? What are you discovering? What problems have you solved for yourself? When you use this as a starting point, you already have a wealth of experience and knowledge about your life because you've lived it. And there's a concept called imposter syndrome where we think that what we know, everybody else knows. And it's not true. Maybe some people know a little bit about what you know, but you know more about it than the average person. And when you realize that, it makes it a lot easier to share something. Like if I was asking you, hey, person, I have a question and it's about something you know about and I don't know about it. Could you just tell me about it? Because I'm asking you. And I know that you think no one's asking the question, but there probably are people asking the question. So think of something that you're aware of. Think of something that you've learned and just talk about it. I have a free resource in the description for this, and it's called the 7-Day Creator Course. It's a 7-day email sequence, and I give you actionable steps every day for a week, and at the end of it you have created something, and I actually will look at the thing that you've created and I'll give you feedback. the people that have gone through it so far have found it really helpful for tapping into and getting started, because sometimes we just need prompts, and that's totally fine. Like, you should always be seeking guidance. If you don't know where to start, humble yourself. Acknowledge, I don't know what to do. Maybe this resource might help me. Maybe that guide will help you. Check it out. There's nothing to sell you there. I'm fully booked. So just take that. It's free. I made it for people that need help right now. Your niche is you. It unfolds over time. I'm not saying that you make a video about cooking one day and a video about hiking next day and then a music video the next day. That isn't sensible, just purely from the perspective of the audience and the algorithm. But that's not to say that you can't have 3 separate channels talking about those things. I had a channel for a while where I put up music, I put up comedy, I put up spirituality, travel, and nothing happened. And then I made a new channel where I focused on, let's say, personal development, business, creativity. That's this channel. And it worked a lot better, a lot faster. And now I can focus on my music as well. But when you try to do everything at once all at the same time, it's overwhelming for you and it's overwhelming for the audience, because they don't know or understand what the heck is going on. So pick a general area. I'm not saying pick one specific thing, but a general area where there's enough overlap and crossover. And that course helps you with all of that. So do that to get started, and that will solve the first problem, which is getting started. Now, the second lie, problem, whatever, that people run into is that they think that whatever they're into is saturated. My friend, you're not a chocolate bar. You are a unique individual. Yes, chocolate bars, there's like a gazillion different versions of a Mars bar. Do we need more Mars bars? Probably not. That's not to say that you can't make another one. And that's talking about chocolate bars. But the thing about humans, you included, is that you're very unique. There's a unique formula that's gone into your creation. That's gone into your life up until this point. And that unique formula is probably not anywhere else in the world. So unless there's duplicates of you, how could whatever market you're trying to get into, how could it be saturated? You're the top dog in the market of you. And I think there's this old traditional philosophy around saturation that isn't super applicable in our modern day digital renaissance, or whatever you want to call it. So historically, you would have a service and then you would find people to match to that service. And naturally, only so many people want a service. So if you're doing it that way, yeah, it could be saturated. Like if there's more plumbers than there are houses that need plumbing, then sure, plumbing, it's oversaturated. But we're talking about personal branding here. So people are going to be interested in you. They're going to be excited about you. And no one else is going to give them the same excitement that you can give them. And when you look at it this way, it's not that you're trying to sell a service or enter a market. You're just entering this space and you're attracting people that are interested in you. Now, because they're interested in you, they will be interested in the things that you're talking about. Otherwise, they wouldn't be watching you. When they're interested in the things that you're talking about, there's a chance that some of those people have a problem that you can solve. And that is your opportunity to create an offer, to create a service or a product or whatever it is to help that person solve that problem. Now, the thing about this is that people might not have the problem when they first tune in. They might not be aware of the problem. They might be in a completely different stage of their life. But as your audience grows, as you keep making content, maybe 6 months pass or a year, and then all of a sudden someone has a problem and they're aware of you because they've been enjoying your stuff. They've been getting value from the content that you're creating. And now you can decide, okay, I've noticed that a few people in the comments have been saying, I need help with this. Can you make a video about that? How do you do this? Chances are you know the answer, in which case that's when you can provide a service. So you bypass this whole saturation thing because you're not competing by being like, I have this service. No, you're competing by saying, I'm me, you like me, I can help you with this, you want me to help you with this. And that's how you bypass this whole saturation myth. People just don't start things because they're like, oh, this industry's saturated. It's not. You're a person. People get new problems all of the time. It's not so black and white. And a lot of the time people will have a problem and they won't even be looking to solve it. But then if you can present a solution, then they'll be like, oh, actually, you know what? That's been something I've been thinking about. An example of this in my life is I would go to the sauna and I would just end up talking to the people in the sauna. And some of the people in the sauna are business owners. And we start talking about what we do. It just naturally happens in a conversation. Now, that person might not have actually been seeking help with content creation, as it were in this case that I'm talking about. But when I mentioned, yeah, I make videos, they said, oh, I've actually been thinking about making videos. Could you help me with that? So there was no saturation there because that person wasn't searching online for video creator near me. No, it was the right place at the right time. And the digital version of the sauna is YouTube. It's the YouTube home feed. You know, you're clicking around, you see things. Another example is music. I'm a musician. I love music, but I'm not looking for music a lot of the time. Like, I'm not interested in listening to new music a lot of the time. But if you happen to have your song playing in a cafe at the right time when I'm there and I like the tune, I'm going to search it. I'm going to look it up after because I'm like, oh, I need that song in my life. Like, that song solves a problem. And I'll go search it up. But I'm not just like looking at a list of musicians and be like, oh, I don't know which one to pick. So we need to transition away from this idea that there's only X amount of space for X amount of service providers or whatever, and realize that, first of all, you need to just be making noise. You need to be creating things, and then allow yourself to get lucky. You get lucky when you bump into a person that happens to need your help. You get lucky when you appear on someone's home feed, but you're not going to get lucky if you don't go places, if you don't upload videos or whatever it is that you want to do. Now, that brings us on to the next critical error that people run into, which is the fear of selling, specifically to your audience. So I made a video a few months ago and I was kind of detailing a roadmap of how to go from zero to actually making your first money online. And the final stage of that process is monetization. And that's what I'm basically going to outline here for you. It's tapping into the equity that you built. So your audience has equity within it. So as you give value to an audience, you're building equity, and then later you can tap into that equity and you can get resources, money, basically, in return. And that's the circle of giving. That's reciprocity. That is totally natural, totally normal. Now, if you have the belief that you're not valuable, you're going to find it hard to sell to people because you don't actually believe that you have a solution to the problem that these people have. And people think it's dirty to monetize an audience. So I just want to reframe that for you. Imagine somebody comes up to you and says, hey, you, I have this problem. I've been watching what you've been doing, and I really think that your skill set could help me solve my problem. And this is how much money I have to pay for it. Can I please hire you? If that happened, would you say, oh, no, I don't sell to my audience? Of course not, because your audience has come to you. And look, sometimes that happens. Sometimes people contact me and I don't have an offer per se, but they want help with something. And sure, I'll engage with them and we'll work something out. But not everybody is going to come to you like that. So they're coming to your videos. And now the next natural thing for you to do is to create an offer that you feel most people or some people are going to need help with. And then you tell people about it. And yes, some people are going to be like, oh, they're trying to sell to me. You're not trying to sell to the people that are thinking that. You're trying to sell to the people that are aware they have a problem and that they want someone to help them with. And it's a disservice to your audience if you're not offering to help them with their problems. And I understand lots of people, they just don't want help. That's fine. You don't need them all to want help, but there's a certain number of them that do. And this whole idea about selling being bad, it fundamentally comes down to you not realizing that you have something worth paying for. And I know it's really difficult to believe that until you've actually sold something. But chances are, if you're watching this, you've probably been paid something in your life for something, whether it's for your job, If you're working in a restaurant, if you're working for a corporate company, whatever it might be, they paid you money. Did you feel bad about charging your employer to pay you? Because that's what a salary is. You're charging them for your time, for your energy, for your expertise. Do you feel bad about that? Probably not. And rightly so, because they're getting a lot of value from you being there. When we switch to entrepreneurship, to self-employment, you're now the person that is interacting directly with your clients a lot of the time. And it's a different relationship. It's a different context. And so something that we don't experience if we're an employee, which is normal. So we need to get over this belief that charging individual people for your services or your products is a bad thing, because it's not. That is strictly a limiting belief that I know you can unwind, and it starts with you recognizing that you have value to share, and that value can be translated into currency, money, euros, dollars, rupee, whatever. When you realize that, you start to break out of the whole starving artist thing, because you're actually realizing that, oh, people are watching my videos, so they're obviously finding them valuable. Otherwise, why would they be watching? And then you just go up another level and you create more specialized offerings. So more access to you, perhaps. In my group coaching program that's happening right now, the people in there, they get to speak with me. We do group calls, we do one-on-one calls. There's resources. There's too much involved in that for me to give it to every single person that watches a YouTube video. But I still make these videos because if you actually take all of this stuff and implement it, you can make a heck of a lot of progress. Problem is, most people don't, because they just hit a roadblock and then they quit. So that's what another level of access you can provide, is that you allow people the opportunity to come to you with their unique challenges. So it could be something very specific, like I'm having this problem, like I'm having this belief and it's preventing me from taking the next step. And that's how you can help people. So just see it like that. Your videos are providing value. If people are watching your videos, if people are signing up to your email list, if people are commenting, they're obviously getting value out of it. And so it's just about acknowledging that value and then be like, okay, how can I make this more sustainable for me? Because making videos on YouTube, it's not necessarily going to pay the bills. That's why we need to see it as marketing for our brand, for our business, and then allow our offers to branch out from that. And this is kind of crossover a bit with saturation. Since you're unique, you can charge unique prices. You don't have to compete on price. As I said, you're not a chocolate bar. You are a very unique flavor, a very unique synthesis of experiences, events, characteristics, personality traits. And that price is a price that you can name. So the beauty of this approach of entrepreneurship, and it's the reason why employees typically have a capped ceiling, is because they're replaceable in a lot of cases. But you're not replaceable as an individual because you're the only version of you. Yeah, there's other creators doing similar things, but it's similar. It's not the same. So don't be competing as if you're the same person, because you're not. And also don't be trying to mimic people entirely, because you're going to dilute your unique value. Now that leads us on to the fourth pitfall that stops people from succeeding, and it is this concept of it doesn't feel authentic. Authenticity is the most vague term of this century, I would say. And I totally fell for this whole thing of like, oh, I need to be authentic. And if I can't be authentic, then I'm not gonna do anything. And I didn't really do much, or the stuff I did do didn't work. And this is how you end up being a starving artist, because you're trying to be authentic. So I'm gonna just spin this into a very practical example. If you went to, let's say you're speaking English as your first language like me. If I went to South America next week and I wanted to communicate with the people there, I would need to start speaking Spanish. Now, is that authentic for me as a person that doesn't really speak Spanish? No, it's not. But if I want to communicate with those people, I need to speak a language that they understand. And this whole concept of authenticity, we usually say like, oh, I don't want to say this, or I don't want to sell this, or I don't want to have this title, or I don't want to speak like this. And instead we want to speak a different way, a way that we think feels more authentic. Now, I'm not saying that you throw all of your values out the window. Absolutely not. I don't throw my values out the window when I come up here to create content. But what I do is I consider that not everybody views the world the same way as me. Not everybody speaks David's language. You know, some people, if I'm with them one-on-one, I'll speak a certain way and it works in that context. But when it comes to the internet and YouTube, a lot of people don't necessarily get that nuanced version of me. And the truth is, they still have a lot of value to receive from me, but I just need to frame it in a different way and in a way that they understand. And do I speak like that to everybody? No, but I'm not always in South America, so I don't have to speak Spanish all the time. So when we're on content creation, YouTube, whatever, you don't have to be how you are with your family, with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend, with your whoever. But you just need to put on your thinking cap and think, who am I speaking to? How can I communicate in a way that most people that I'm trying to speak to can understand? Because we marginalize other people when we speak in these all high and mighty terms and whatever. So this is where things like persuasion and copywriting and just general marketing philosophy come into play. And when you realize that these constraints, we'll call them constraints, you know, frameworks, structures, these are really important when it comes to thriving as a creative person, when it comes to thriving as an entrepreneur, someone who's bushwhacking their own path. Now, we don't just copy and paste what other people are doing or what's been proven to work, but we take time to understand the framework and to adapt it in a way that allows us to express ourselves, yes, authentically, but also allows the audience to receive the value that we have to share. Because you can say something in 100 different ways and you're going to get 100 different interpretations of it based on how you say it. So what I'm referring to here are things like titles, thumbnails, your structure, how you speak to people, and the pacing, all that stuff. And I'm not saying that you need to copy everybody. Definitely not saying that. But there's so much power in taking constraints and then putting yourself in there and allowing yourself to flourish and thrive within that space. So these are the principles that you need to come to terms with and understand if you want to transition from a place of feeling scattered and lost with no direction, with no reciprocity, with no income coming back your way, because it's not sustainable. You need to nourish yourself, and you do that by taking all of these factors into consideration, and it's going to be better for you because your life will thrive. Like, embrace the constraints. For the longest time, I wanted to be this vagabonding person that went all around the world, and I just prayed that something would fall into my lap, and it never worked. But then I decided, you know what, I'm going to commit to one place. I'm going to commit to an apartment. I'm going to commit to building my own agency at the time. And the same with this channel. And when I started to do that, it was slow at the beginning, but I slowly began to realize, oh, this is working. I want to do some more of this. Oh, this is working. Oh, that person really enjoyed that. And that's how I started creating more offers. That's how I started building more of an audience, increasing my income, learning new skills, learning new things, and building a life where I've got a thriving community around me. I've got financial security. I've got purpose in the work that I do in each and every day. And it's a gift and it's a joy that you deserve as well. So I really hope this video helped you. As I said, there's that free resource in the description to get you started with your first piece of content. Check that out, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.